Hey guys, how we doing and how we feeling today? I'm Emilio Fernandez and welcome back to the Pop and Bob podcast. On this episode, we're going to talk about and review Normani's debut studio album titled Dopamine. In case you don't know who Normani is, well, let me tell you. Normani is best known from being in Fifth Harmony, one of the biggest girl groups of the 2010s. And speaking of Normani as a soloist, her I would say her three biggest hits are Dancing with a Stranger. Well, three of her biggest hits are Dancing with a Stranger with Sam Smith, Love Lies with Khalid, and Motivation. This album is mainly a blend of two genres, which are R&B and pop. Now, prior to the album release, we had the lead single 159 featuring Gunna. And post album release, we had Candy Paint and All Yours as the second and third singles, respectively. Now, onto the album itself. So, the album is 13 songs and it's 41 minutes and 35 seconds long. So, it's your standard listening session length, I would say. Now, starting with the first track, we have Big Boy featuring Stara, the first of my highlights on the album. This is a strong opening track. The electric guitar that kicks off the album gets the listener invested immediately. And the other instruments, like the drums, give the song a very energetic feel. Stara makes a good impression here. And in this song, Normani pays homage to her southern roots, referencing two of the biggest influences in southern hip hop, which are Pimp C and Big Boy. Personally, I wasn't familiar with Pimp C, I believe, but I had heard of Big Boy. And Big Boy gives this song its title. So there's that. And I mean, not a lot to say about this song. Additionally, like just that Normani was Houston raised. So yeah, there's that. Now, track number 2, still another one of my highlights. The male vocals going on in the background throughout the song can catch the listener off guard. But after the first listen, they can get used to it. Said vocals, however, are slowed down and distorted towards the end, which wasn't really needed in the song. And in this song, Normani is feeling herself, feeling like a sexy woman, as well as sharing that she enjoys being Houston raised and being an R&B pop star. So, not a lot to say here either, just that I love when female artists feel themselves on a song. Like, it really sends a message home that they know their worth, they know that, yeah, like they just feel sexy, you know? And it's interesting to see how Normani views herself as being like an R&B pop star. That's an interesting combo. Now, track number 3, All Yours. Normani's vocal performance here is stunning. This song can feel a tad bit repetitive though. And in this song, Normani talks about liking someone a little too much that it scares her. But the affection is so strong that she tells this guy that she's all his and he's all hers. She feels sexually liberated with this person. Okay, so this is a pretty self-explanatory song because it's called All Yours. And basically, Normani is like loving someone, a guy, way too much, like that it frightens her, but she's like, hey, like I'm all yours. I feel like I can be myself around you, like do whatever I want with you, like not hold back. Now, track number 4, Lights On. This is a very sultry song, and the production matches this nature of the lyrics quite well. Normani even changes her vocal delivery at certain points in the song to really send the message home. And in this song, Normani talks about the power dynamic she has with a certain guy and feeling very much in control. She feels like the authority here, taking full advantage of her pretty privilege and celebrity status. So, yeah, Normani in this song is saying, I want you to love me with the lights on, which is pretty sexy thing to say. And yeah, like what I gathered from this song is that Normani is talking about a guy who is not famous, he's not a celebrity. So that's where the power dynamic comes from. So she's like, hey, I'm a celebrity, I'm pretty. So why not take advantage of those two things and just roll with it? Just um, take charge of this dynamic and, yeah, like just be in control. Now, track number 5, Take My Time, another one of my highlights. The most danceable and pop sounding track on the album. The production here is stellar. This song has the potential to be pushed as a single. And in this song, Normani talks about the strong feelings that arise every time she's close to her partner and how she wishes for him to take the leap and fully commit to this relationship without hesitation. So, in this song, Normani is saying, like, you would think that Normani is talking about, like, I want to take my time, but she's actually saying, I want you to take my time. So that's a pretty interesting change of words there. And yeah, basically, she's like wanting this guy that she feels so strongly about to really make the effort, like take the first step and really give this relationship his all, like not leave anything on the table and just like not think about it that much, just be more proactive. Now, track number 6, Insomnia, one of the strongest tracks on the album and another one of my highlights on the album. Brandy and Victoria Monet have writing credits on this song, and the backing vocals are by them as well. And I love that. Well, if you know your R&B, you would know that Brandy is a very legendary figure in the all R&B space, and Victoria Monet is a pretty prominent new school R&B figure. So I love that Normani took these two artists and of two different generations, put them together to co-write the song, and they made magic. And I love that they also lent their backing vocals to the song. And Normani's vocals here sound mesmerizing. And in this song, Normani talks about feeling so miserable by a guy who just doesn't treat her right. When he calls her late at night, everything that comes to mind drives her to the point of insomnia. It's almost as if he knows that she's trying to move on, because it appears he makes that impossible for her. And he also seems to only want her at the most inconvenient of times. She knows perfectly well that she can just take the easiest route and block him online. But for some reason, she still wishes to see him despite everything that suggests it's a terrible idea. So I would consider this to be the most interesting song on the album lyrically, because I mean it's called Insomnia, and in this case, Normani is talking about a guy that gives her insomnia, a guy that doesn't let her sleep at night because he drives her crazy. Like it's just that she's really down bad, and she's trying to move on from this guy, but it's like this guy knows that she's trying to do that and tries to make that impossible for her. So, and she knows she can just get rid of him, like in the sense that she blocks him online. and not see him anymore. But for some odd reason, she still wants to see him, despite like everything that that entails. What that means for her. Now, track number 7, Candy Paint. This song is reminiscent of Normani's 2019 single Motivation, her first solo song to really hype her up among the general public. And fun fact, Normani has 4 Hot 100 entries, and Motivation is her lowest charting song from these 4. The others being the ones. Okay, so 2 of the 3 that I mentioned at the beginning, which were Dancing with a Stranger and Love Lies, and Wild Side, which is the last song on this album, which we'll get to later on. Okay, so these 4 are those Hot 100 entries, and Motivation peaked at number 33, which makes it the lowest charting song out of those 4. But yeah, this was the first song to really like get people behind her, like really hype her up with the general public. And in this song, Normani talks about feeling empowered and overall just a bad bitch. Positive that she can have any man who is most probably used to average girls. So this song has history to it. From what I remember, this song was first like properly teased. Like we actually got to hear a snippet of it a year ago with the Bose commercial. And but I believe this, like, people knew of this song beforehand. So it has been a long time coming. This song was highly anticipated by her fans, and it really didn't disappoint. But I'm just gonna confess that with the first listen, I wasn't really impressed. But the more I have listened to the song, the more I have appreciated it for what it is. And well, with the title Candy Paint, I didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, it's basically like Normani's all about female empowerment here. She feels like that bitch, and she is that bitch. And she's like, she knows that she can get any man she wants. And those men, like, probably are used to what Normani considers average girls, and she's above average, rightfully so. Now, track number 8, Grip. The weakest track on the album thus far. It's not even close. The production could use some work. The male narration scattered all throughout the song wasn't really needed. And in this song, Normani is all about self love, confidence, and independence. She knows she's attractive. Her presence is very much felt everywhere she goes, and she enjoys her unapologetic lifestyle. She considers herself mature, authentic, and knows she can get whatever she wants. So, okay, at least, like with what I said, at least the lyrics of the song kind of save it, but they don't that doesn't make it a good song in my book still. So, but at least it has something interesting to say. So, yeah, basically Normani is loving herself here. She's highly confident, independent. She knows that she's aware that she's pretty, and that everywhere she goes, people look at her, like actually turn around to look at her. And she knows she can get what she wants because she's all about maturity and authenticity. So yeah. Now, track number 9, 159 featuring Gunna, another one of my highlights. One of the strongest tracks on the album. The production here is crisp. Gunna really adds to the song. This is another pretty sultry song. And in this song, Normani and Gunna talk about reconnecting with the past lover and being unable to resist the attraction that manifests each and every time they come back to one another. So, a pretty straightforward song. It's just talking about two people wanting to reconnect, past lovers, and they can't resist each other. So they're like reigniting that spark that died some time ago. And they just want to get back together. Like each time they come close, they're like, why don't we just try this again? Like, why don't we just not pretend, but why don't we just like set aside our differences that made us break up in the first place and try this again? Like, why not? Now, track number 10, Distance. In this song, Normani talks about falling in love with a guy who's emotionally unavailable. So she needs to love him from a distance. She's tired of fighting for his attention and of him not being around when she needs him. So again, another pretty self-explanatory song. It's kind of like Normani really wants you to not think about the song that much. Like she's kind of like all about like self-explanatory songs. So yeah. Um so yeah, like this song is basically just that she Normani needs to take some distance from a certain guy because he's just not available. Like his heart is somewhere else. Like it's not open for love. So yeah, she's just tired of waiting for him to like even look at her, in the sense that waiting for him to pay attention to her. Now, track number 11, Tantrums, featuring James Blake. One of the strongest tracks on the album, and this is another one of my highlights on the album. Normani's vocals here are beautiful. James Blake's tender vocals are the right fit with the song. And I gotta say, I didn't know who James Blake was, but he must be uh, like maybe a veteran R&B artist, could be. And in this song, Normani talks about a guy who acts pretty maturely for his age. By now, he's just someone she used to know, going as far as viewing him as someone she would just get intimate with from time to time. But before this indifference, she loved him unlike anyone else. This guy would just play games with her, and he failed to realize what he had with her until it was gone. So, yeah, I mean, with the title Tantrums, like, I imagine that the story was along those lines, like literal, in the literal sense. So, Normani is just talking about a guy who she was in a relationship with, but she had it up to here with him because he would throw tantrums like a little kid. Like he would just be so immature for his grown ass age. And she's like, hey, like, you were just someone I would fuck with like from time to time, and that's it. Like, just that's just what I know. Well, not know. That's just what I see you as now, because we don't have anything anymore. We're done. So she's all indifferent about him now because he would just play games with her. And now that it's too late, he realized what he had, but now it's gone. Now, track number 12, Little Secrets. This song can get a little repetitive, but other than that, it's pretty solid. The instrumentation, the electric guitar in this case, adds to this fast paced song. And in this song, Normani finds herself competing with her ex's new girlfriend, trying to one up her to make it crystal clear who the superior woman is. So, okay, with the title Little Secrets, I pictured something else, but I liked what we got with the song story wise, because it's pretty simple, obviously, with what I said, but yeah, I mean, Normani is jealous basically of this new girlfriend of of her ex, and she's like just trying to impress him, and because she wants him back, obviously. So she doesn't care about this other girl, and she just wants him all to herself. And that brings us to the final song on this album, track number 13, Wild Side featuring Cardi B. The last of my highlights on the album. So, this is a strong closing track. One last sultry song to close things out. This was the first track to be released back in 2021. Cardi B makes the most out of her feature. This is one of Normani's biggest hits. As I already said, it peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it one of her highest charting songs. As good as the song is, though, it doesn't very, it doesn't fit very well with the rest of the album, even less as the one to wrap it up. And in this song, Normani is all about sexual liberation and femininity. So this is a pretty straightforward song. I mean, it has suggestive lyrics. Normani and Cardi B are pretty sexual in the song, and I mean, nothing wrong with that. Just like um, nothing really new here. But yeah, they're just like talking about how they want to like get intimate with the guy, and yeah, that's basically it. So yeah, that's the album. So overall, this is a solid R&B pop album. All of the featured artists brought their A game, and Normani delivered a mostly consistent debut album. And in case you didn't know, this album has been, well, it was pretty highly, like very highly anticipated for years on end. Like, we're talking about the fact that Normani tweeted back in 2018 that she had her album title. So that was 6 years ago. And we just got the album 2 months ago. But I can happily say that what we got was pretty good. Maybe it could have been better. Surely it could have been better. But like, at least she didn't let us down, you know? Like, because the anticipation was so much, the expectations were so high that it was very easy to be disappointed, but I wasn't, at least. And another thing is that it gets better with each listen. Like, the first time I heard this album, I wasn't really that impressed. Like, there weren't a lot of songs that I revisited, but the more I listened to it, the more I have come to appreciate it for the work of art, the body of work that it is. So normally this is a part of the review where I compare this album to the rest of the artist's discography to say which album is the best one. But since Normani just has this is her debut album, so she just has this album, so there's nothing else to compare it to. But as I said, this is a pretty strong debut album. Now, what score do I give this album? I give it 4 out of 5 stars. So, yeah, guys, that was my review for Dopamine by Normani. Before I go, make sure to follow Pop and Bop on all social media. It's basically Pop and Bop, as I said, on all social media. And yeah, guys, this has been Pop and Bop. I'm Emilio Fernandez. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time when we sit down and review Sabrina Carpenter's sixth studio album, Short and Sweet. Catch you next time.